All right, sorry for the delay. Let's get started in Sukhasana, an easy cross-legged position. If you do happen to have a block with you or a bolster, great, that's a good prop to sit up on now. Otherwise, you can find maybe a firm cushion or a blanket or a stack of blankets around your house and prop that up underneath your hips. The point of that is to elevate your hips above your knees to allow for the proper spinal alignment with your pelvis. So once you get there, root down through your sit bones, roll the shoulders down your back. Maybe close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Draw your crown of head up toward the sky. Let out a few sighs here. Big, deep inhales. Exhale, sigh it out. Start to gently rock forward and back and side to side on your sit bones. And then eventually settle into stillness. You want to feel evenly grounded through both sit bones. Now bring one hand to your belly and the other hand to your heart. Start to notice the rise and fall of your torso as you breathe. Allow your inhales to fill your belly all the way up, pressing your hand forward, and then the air drifts into your midsection, and then up to your chest, filling your lungs. Hold your breath at the top. Then exhale, lungs first, then midsection, then your belly, squeezing every last drop of air out of your belly. Then inhale again, starting that cycle all over. Do this several times on your own, tuning into your breath in your body. With every inhale, think about lengthening and expanding your body. With every exhale, deepen and release. Today we're going to focus on a grounding practice. So right now our sit bones are pressing down into either a prop or the floor. And that allows you to gain stability from the earth or the prop underneath you and allow your spine to grow tall. So as we begin to move, think about whatever body parts are touching the ground, pressing them into the ground, and then growing taller from there. On your next exhale, bring your hands to your knees. Keep your eyes closed if you'd like. Drop your chin to your chest, and then rotate toward the right so that your right ear comes to your right shoulder. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can take your left fingertips to the ground and maybe even walk them away from your body. Send your exhales to your neck, allowing it to release. Inhale, hands come back to your lap. Roll your chin down through center and over to the left this time. Maybe your right fingertips come to the side of you and walk away from you. Breathing into your neck. Inhale, drop your chin back through center, hands come to your lap. Keep rotating your neck all the way around, one full revolution in this direction. Once you get back to the beginning, rotate that revolution in the opposite direction. And then we'll meet back at center. Chin comes parallel to the floor. Blink your eyes open. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Palms touch above you and look up. On your exhale, twist to the right. Your left hand comes to the outside of your right thigh and your right fingertips come behind you. Maybe even look over your right shoulder. Inhale, back through center, arms reach high. Exhale, twist to the left this time. Right palm plants on your left thigh. Gaze can come over your left shoulder. Inhale, back through center. On your exhale, go ahead and take the prop out from under you if you had it. You can either keep your legs in this cross-legged position, or if double pigeon is in your practice, you can stack your shins, flexing your top foot, or the third option is Gomukhasana, stacking your knees. Wherever you are is perfectly fine. Make sure you're proud of your choice. Inhale, arms lift up, reach up. On your exhale, lead forward with your chest hinging at your hips. Fingertips come toward the ground. You should feel a nice stretch in your outer hip. Go only as far as feels comfortable for you. You want to feel the stretch, but don't push it to the point of pain. On your next inhale, start walking your hands back towards your body. Go ahead and switch the cross of your leg, taking the same variation on this side. So either knees stacked, shins stacked, or legs crossed. Inhale up for length. Exhale, fold forward, leading with your heart. It's not so important how far you come toward the ground. What's more important is keeping a flat spine so your crown of head and heart are drawing forward. Inhale, walk your hands back towards your body and make your way to all fours, tabletop position. Setting up your tabletop, you want your wrists directly underneath your shoulders, hands spread wide, pointer fingers pointing forward, knees are directly under your hips. We're going to start with a long flat spine, so shoulders retract down your back, crown of head draws forward as your tailbone draws down. And then on your inhale, lift your tailbone, drop your belly, and pull your heart forward, maybe even look up. Exhale, curl your spine, round your back, chin to chest. Inhale to cow pose, belly drops. Exhale, cat pose. Do a few more on your own breath, bringing in any movements that your body is asking you for. Maybe a C curve in your spine or swaying your hips in a circle. Tune into your body and respect what it's asking of you. And then we'll all meet back in a neutral spine. Keep your hips directly above your knees and just walk your hands forward for puppy pose, sinking your chest down to the mat. Maybe your chin or forehead rests on the mat. If not, that's okay. We're really going for the stretch in our pectorals and our shoulders. And if you'd like an even deeper stretch, you can come up onto your fingertips. Next inhale, walk it back to tabletop. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Transfer the weight to your left hand. Inhale your right arm up to the sky. Look up at those fingertips. Exhale, thread your arm underneath your body, coming down to your right shoulder and right cheek. Make sure that your left hip doesn't come up and to the side. Draw your left hip back in line with the right. Options for your left hand, you can either extend it forward or bring it around the small of your back and hook onto your right thigh. Remember to breathe. On your next inhale, drop your left hand back to the mat, right arm up to the sky. Exhale, tabletop. Weight is in the right hand this time. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, thread it underneath your body, coming down to your left shoulder. Once again, options to either extend your right arm forward or bring it around the small of your back, hooked onto your right thigh or your left thigh. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, tabletop. Now sit your hips back for child's pose. Option to either have your thighs together or knees out to the edges of your mat with your big toes touching. Then sit those hips back to your heels, arms stretch forward. Maybe your chin or forehead come to rest on the mat. If your forehead does reach the mat, maybe try swaying it side to side, massaging the space between your eyebrows, your third eye center, your third eye chakra. This is the seat of our intuition. It's a great way to start to ground. And then on your next exhale, walk both hands to the right side of your mat. Maybe even your hands come off of your mat. Left hand can come on top of your right hand for a deeper stretch. Keep sending your left hip back toward your heels and spin your left shoulder down to the mat. Deep breaths into your left side body. Then inhale, come back through center, and exhale, walk your hands to the left. Maybe your right hand comes on top of left this time. Make sure you're spinning your right shoulder down. Right hip draws back toward your heels. And breathe into your right side body. Inhale, walk it back through center. Come up through tabletop and then curl your toes, lift your hips for downward facing dog. Take any organic movements here. Maybe swaying your hips side to side or pedaling into one knee and then the other. Eventually settling into stillness. Make sure that your fingers are spread wide, just like in tabletop position. External rotation at your shoulder blades. Keep your biceps close to your ears. Drishti, point of focus, is traditionally up at your belly button, but can also be anywhere between your legs. Hips are high to the sky. It's totally okay to have your knees bent here, and you're working your heels toward the ground, but it's not important that they actually reach. Then on your next inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Stretch it back. On your exhale, slowly and with control, bring your right foot forward and set it by your right hand. Drop your left knee down to the mat. Inhale, swing your arms overhead, Anjaneyasana. Maybe even look up at those hands. And then on your exhale, swing your right arm over your left. Options here, either hug yourself or double wrap for Gomukhasana, eagle arms. Either way, you want to roll your shoulders down your back and lift your elbows high, maybe even look up once again. And then on your exhale, unwind, send your right arm back, left arm forward so that you're twisting toward your bent knee. Inhale, back through center, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands plant around your foot. Shift your hips back for half splits. You can either keep your toes flat on the mat or pop them up, flex them up toward the ceiling. That's my preference. Bring your right hand to your right hip and gently guide your right hip back. That really activates the stretch in your hamstring and calf. Draw your left or your right hip back so that it's in line with the left. Make sure you're keeping a flat back here. Try not to round. So shoulders down your back, heart and crown of head are pulling forward. Maybe explore some movement here by shifting your hips to the left and your foot to the right. And then in the opposite direction. Your hamstring is a big muscle. It's just nice to get all the edges of it. Then inhale, come back to tabletop position. Keeping your elbows close to your body, you'll drop your chest and chin to the mat and then slither onto your belly. Inhale for cobra pose. Heart pulls forward, shoulders back. You're dragging your heart forward and your hands back. Then exhale to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, left leg lifts this time. Exhale slowly and with control, bring your foot forward by your left hand. Right knee down to the mat, untuck your toes. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, Anjaneyasana. And this time on your exhale, left arm comes on top of right. Either give yourself that big hug or double wrap for Gomukhasana, eagle arms. Shoulders draw down your back, elbows come high. And then exhale, unwind and twist towards your bent knee. So left arm back, right arm forward. Try to stack your shoulders directly on top of your hips. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Shift your hips back for half splits. Either keeping your toes on the ground or flex up toward the sky. Make sure you're drawing your left hip back in line with the right. Keeping your spine long, shoulders down your back. Once again, if you'd like to explore some movement here, maybe shift side to side, see how that feels for you. Always remembering to breathe. And then on your next inhale, come forward to tabletop. Once again, keeping those elbows toward your body, drop your chest and chin to the mat, coming to your belly. Inhale to cobra pose. Hips and tops of feet plant in the mat. Be really light on your hands. Maybe you can even lift them up off the mat. Then exhale, downward facing dog. I'm a big fan of audible breaths, so at any time, horse's breath, lion's breath are always welcome, or maybe just a big sigh. On your inhale, look forward and gently walk toward the top of your mat. Meeting in a forward fold. This time, have your hips or your feet directly under your hips. Inhale, halfway lift and draw your arms out to the side. On your exhale, fold and swing your right arm on top of left, giving yourself that big hug again. Maybe bend into your knees and rock side to side. Make sure you're dropping your head toward the mat so that you're relieving any pressure in your neck. And then inhale, halfway lift, arms come out to the side. Exhale, give yourself that big hug with the opposite arm on top this time. Bend into those knees if that feels good. Just really releasing your spine, decompressing your neck. And then exhale, drop your hands toward the mat. Go ahead and interlace your fingers and then bring them to the back of your neck. The space where your neck meets your head, and fold forward once again. Just allowing your hands and your arms to add a little more downward pressure to decompress your spine. Maybe even sway your head side to side. And then on your inhale, keeping your knees slightly bent,
Slowly start to roll your spine up to standing, keeping your hands in this position. Neck is the very last thing to come up, and then turn it into a back bend by spreading your elbows wide and pressing your head back into your hands. And then exhale, come to Tadasana, standing mountain pose. So big toes touch, a little bit of space between your heels so that your heels track over your second and third toes. Internal rotation at your hips so that your inner thighs are pressing back behind you. Belly button sucks up and in. Posterior tilt of your pelvis so that your tailbone hangs heavy toward the ground. Shoulders draw down your back. Ribs are in. Hands face forward. Chin is parallel to the ground. I know, a lot of cues for just standing, right? Close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Tadasana is one of the most grounding poses. Feel evenly rooted throughout all four corners of your feet. Feel the strength that you can pull up from the earth. Then on your inhale, blink your eyes open and reach your arms overhead. Urdhva Hastasana, maybe even look up at your palms. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Bend your knees as much as you need to here. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands can come to your shins or a prop or the floor. The main thing here is you want a flat back. So tailbone presses back, heart and crown of head pull forward, shoulder blades retract down your back. Then exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank pose. We're gonna hold here for a few breaths, setting up our first plank. Just like in tabletop, you want your hands, your wrists directly under your shoulders and your fingers spread wide. Press into the pads of your fingertips so that you alleviate some pressure from your wrists. Keep that posterior tilt, the tuck of your pelvis so that your tailbone is long. Shoulders retract down your back. Press through your heels. Then on your exhale, keeping your elbows in toward your body, shift forward of your wrists and drop down to your belly. Slow and controlled. Untuck your toes. Tops of feet flat on the floor. Shoulders or hands come back by your ribs. Then on your inhale, peel your heart forward, shoulders back for Cobra. The point of Cobra is not height. You really want to elongate your spine here. So draw back through your toes, draw your heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Three to 5 breaths here in your down dog. This is a good time to come back to your Ujjayi breath if you've lost it. Slow and steady breaths in and out through your nose while constricting at the base of your throat. Inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, make your way to plank, either through all the way to your belly to Cobra or Chaturanga to upward facing dog. Whatever's in your practice. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3 to 5 breaths here. Inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, walk or hop to the top of your mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, brings you up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Surya Namaskara A, one more time. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back through your version of vinyasa. You can always skip it by hinging straight to downward facing dog from plank. Inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, walk or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. This time we're going straight to chair pose, Utkatasana. So drop your seat, lift your hands toward the sky. Look down, make sure you can see all of your toes, and then lift your toes off the mat, spread them really wide, and gently place them back down. You want your weight toward your heels. Notice your pelvis. Oftentimes we come up with our booty sticking out. Posterior tilt again so that your pelvis, or your tailbone rather, hangs down toward the mat. Hands up to the sky, shoulders down your back. Then on your exhale, bring your hands through heart center, fold, and then straighten your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, go back through a vinyasa or skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Once you get to down dog, inhale your right leg up. Keep those hips square and that foot flexed. Then on your exhale, slowly and with control, draw your knee towards your right elbow. Inhale, back up, three-leg dog. Exhale, cross it over to your left elbow. Inhale, three-leg dog. Exhale, straight down the middle, knee toward nose, hold. And then set your foot down between your hands. Left foot spins down at a 45-degree angle, heel to heel or wider alignment. Then inhale up, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. So in warrior one, we really want to work our hips toward the front of the mat, square hips here. So if that means that you need to heel toe your right foot out to the side, that's totally fine. We want heel to heel or wider alignment. Once again, posterior tuck of your pelvis so that you protect your low back. If we arch our low back here, that can cause pain over time. Make sure your right knee is stacked directly on top of your ankle. Hands and gaze are high. And then exhale, open it out to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. You'll have to rearrange your feet so that your left arch and right heel are aligned. Commit to the bend in that right knee. Shoulders stacked on top of your hips. Drishti, your gaze is over your right fingertips. Shoulders draw down your back. Then inhale, stretch forward and reach back for reverse warrior. Your left fingertips can either come to your leg or wrap around the small of your back and hook onto your right thigh. Nice side stretch here on the right. Then exhale, come forward for extended side angle pose. Right fingertips either plant on the ground or your forearm rests on your thigh. Left arm stretches overhead. All about spinal rotation here. So really try to stack your left shoulder on top of right. And scoot your hips underneath you. Inhale, back up to warrior two. And go ahead and straighten that front leg, give it a break. We're heading into triangle, so I like to scoot my right foot in a little bit for a shorter stance, but feel free to do what feels right for your body. Inhale, shift your hips back, fingertips forward. Once you can't reach forward anymore, drop your right hand toward the ground, left arm toward the sky. It's not important if your right fingertips reach the ground or not. What's more important is that you try to keep length through both sides of your body. Feel as though you were being smashed between two walls. You really want to get a flat body here, like a flat Stanley, remember those? Then look up at your fingertips or down toward your toe, whatever feels better for your neck. On your next exhale, swing your left arm down toward the ground. Going to hop your left foot in, coming into pyramid pose. So traditionally it's heel to heel alignment with all 10 toes pointing forward, but for a lot of our bodies that doesn't really work. So feel free to walk your right foot out to the side if you need a wider stance. Bring your right hand to your right hip and guide your right hip back in line with the left, just like we did in half splits. Once you feel good there, you can drop your right fingertips toward the ground. Inhale for length. Go for that long, flat spine. Then exhale, keeping that length in your spine. You can forward fold over your front leg. Maybe it's a very slight fold, and that's okay. Whatever you need to do in order to maintain that flat back. You should feel a nice stretch on the back of your right leg. Now bring your fingertips or your palms toward the ground. You can bend into your right knee. Start pressing the weight into your right foot and lift your left foot off the ground for standing splits. Try to get the crown of your head down toward the mat. Try to keep those hips even and square. Bend your right knee as much as you need to here to feel comfortable. If you'd like even more of a balance challenge, you can take one or both hands to your right leg. Either stay here or we're going to do a few Shiva squats, building some strength in our right leg. So on your exhale, you can bend your left knee and squat down so that your left knee comes to the outside of your right calf. Then inhale back up to standing splits. Exhale, Shiva squat. Lift your heart as you come down. Inhale, standing splits. Exhale, squat. Inhale, standing splits. Then exhale, this time just set your left foot down by your right for a forward fold. Inhale for chair pose. Sit your hips back, arms come up toward the sky. Now shift your weight into your left foot, coming to the ball of your right foot. I'll turn to face you guys for this. You can either stay here, or if you're feeling balanced, you can bring your right knee toward your chest. If you feel good here, maybe cross your leg over left thigh for eagle legs. Then bring your arms out to the side. Cross your right arm on top of left. Either give yourself that big hug again or double wrap for Garandasana eagle pose. Keep squeezing everything to the midline. Try to keep your long spine, so shoulders stacked on top of hips while still sitting deeply into your hips. And on your inhale, unwind, press to one leg Tadasana, so keep that right knee high. Then exhale, hands heart center Tadasana. Go ahead and close your eyes here if you feel comfortable with that. Start to allow your breath to slow down if it's sped up. Maybe you can notice a difference between your left and right bodies, particularly your legs and hips. Then gently blink your eyes open. On your next inhale, we'll sit into chair pose, Utkatasana. And then exhale, fold and straighten your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your palms, go through your vinyasa or skip it. You can always go from plank to downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up behind you. And exhale slowly and with control, bring your knee to your left tricep. Inhale back behind you. Exhale, cross it under your body to your right tricep. Inhale, three-leg dog. Exhale, knee to nose with control. Then set your foot between your hands. Right foot comes down in a 45-degree angle for warrior one. Once again, try to square those hips toward the front of the room. So that will mean bringing your left hip back, right hip forward. Heel to heel or wider alignment. Press a lot through the outer edge of your right foot. Deep bend in your left knee. Hands and gaze up toward the sky. Then exhale it out for warrior two. Shift your feet so that you have front heel, back arch alignment. Really press your feet into the mat and feel like you're pulling them closer together toward each other. This will fire up your inner thighs. Deep bend in your front knee, shoulders stacked on top of hips. Inhale, scoop it forward, then back for reverse warrior. Fingertips can come to your leg or around the small of your back and hook onto your left thigh. Deep side bend here. And then exhale, come forward for extended side angle pose. Either forearm rests lightly on thigh, keeping your shoulder out of your ear, or hand can come toward the ground. Keep spinning your right shoulder down your back, opening your chest up toward the sky. And then inhale, come back through warrior two. Go ahead and straighten your front leg. Either keep your stance or draw your right foot in a little bit for triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. So hips back, hands forward. Once you can't reach forward anymore, left arm toward the ground, right arm toward the sky. Either look up at your right fingertips or down toward your left toes. Try to flatten your body. Hips scoot underneath you, shoulders draw back. And then exhale, swing your right hand down to the mat. Hop your foot in for pyramid pose. Once again, we either want heel to heel or wider alignment. For most of us, we will need a wider stance. All 10 toes pointing forward. Draw your hand up to your left hip. Guide it back behind you so that it's in line with the right. Tailbone sticks back behind you. Chest and crown of head pull forward. Then on your exhale, either stay here or start to hinge forward, folding over your left leg. Maintaining that flat spine. We don't want any rounding of the back here. That will really fire up the stretch in the back of your left leg. Now start to press into your left foot, bringing your right toes off the mat for standing splits. Hands can plant into the mat for support, or if you'd like that extra balance challenge, one or both hands can come to your left leg. Try to keep even hips here. Option to either stay here or go through the squats with us. So on your exhale, you'll bend your right knee, bringing it to the outside of your left leg. Inhale, extend for standing splits. Exhale, Shiva squat, slow and controlled. Inhale, standing splits. One more. Inhale, back up. This time you can set your right foot by left for a forward fold. And then inhale to chair pose. Exhale, press to standing. I'm going to face you this time. Inhale, chair pose. Start to ground into your right foot, bringing your left toes off the mat. You can either stay here or maybe bring your knee up toward chest. If you're still feeling good here, you can cross your leg over your right thigh for eagle. This time left arm comes on top of right for either the big hug or Garandasana eagle. Shoulders draw down your back while you lift your elbows high. Try to sink deeply into those hips while maintaining a tall spine. Then on your inhale, unwind, press up to one-legged Tadasana. Then exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Once again, close your eyes. Come back to your breath. Allow yourself a few moments of reflection. And then blink your eyes open. Step your feet to about mat's width. Toes out, heels in slightly. And then we'll slowly drop down for Malasana, yogi squat. If you have a prop, feel free to place it underneath your hips here, a block or a stack of books, anything like that. If you'd like to explore some movement, maybe sway side to side, that feels really good for me on my calves, but it doesn't feel great for everyone, so just see what your body needs today. Press your feet into the ground and gently press your thighs back behind you with your elbows. Chest is lifted, heart pulls forward. And then we're going to come to Navasana, boat pose. So maybe you'll bring your hands behind you for a little support. Coming to your seat. Option 1, hands to your backs of thighs, knees bent, all the while maintaining a tall, flat back. Option 2, you can release your hands forward but keep those knees bent. Once again, shoulders draw down your back, chest is lifted. Option 3, you can straighten those legs. Do whatever you need to do to maintain those that flat back. No rounding in the spine here. Lift that heart forward. We'll hold here for several breaths, cultivating some heat in those abs. And drishti, point of focus, is over your toes. And then exhale, drop your feet and hands toward the mat. Right leg comes long in front of you. Flex your right toes up toward the ceiling. And your left leg is bent and comes out to the side. You want the sole of your left foot to touch your inner right thigh. Really drive your right heel into the mat. Inhale for length. Sweep your arms overhead. Slight twist toward the right so that your sternum, your chest, tracks over your right leg. Then on your exhale, lead with your heart and fold forward over your right leg, coming down to your edge. Maybe your hands are on the floor, maybe they grab your foot or your wrist. Wherever you are is perfectly fine. Just remember to maintain that flat back, drawing your chest forward. Maybe if your forehead does reach your knee, just like we did in child's pose at the beginning of class, you can rock side to side on your third eye chakra. And then inhale, come back up through center. We'll switch legs. So left leg is long, foot is flexed. Sole of right foot comes to inner thigh. Right knee is out to the side. Inhale for length. Exhale, lead with your heart. Fold forward, Janu Shirsasana. Grabbing either the floor, your calf, your foot, wherever you are is perfectly fine. And then inhale back up through center. We'll take the soles of the feet together, knees out wide for Baddha Konasana. Scoot your feet close to your body. Grab your peace fingers around your big toes and connect with your thumbs. Inhale for length, shoulders draw back, crown of head pulls high. Then exhale, leading with your heart, forward fold. Only come as far forward as you can maintain that flat back. You can gently press your thighs down toward the ground with your elbows if they connect. Then inhale, come back up through center. On your exhale, make your way to your back. So your feet plant in the mat, your knees are directly up at the ceiling. Hands plant by your sides. Before we come up into bridge pose, posteriorly tilt your pelvis, so that means tuck your tailbone so that the lowest part of your back is flat on the floor. Keep that engagement in your abs and your hips. Then on your inhale, lift your hips up toward the sky. We'll take a few breaths here. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. Really press down through your feet, especially your inner feet. This will engage your inner thighs and help you keep that tuck of your pelvis. On your exhale, slowly come down one vertebra at a time, elongating your spine as you do. Exhale to reset that posterior tilt of your pelvis. Inhale, come back up into bridge pose, maybe a little higher this time. Feel as though you have a block between your thighs that you're trying to squeeze so that it doesn't fall to the floor. Really engage your inner thighs, your inner feet. And exhale one vertebra at a time down to the mat, extending your tailbone down towards your heels. Last time, bridge pose, make sure you're tucked, and then inhale, lift those hips high. This time, if you'd like to interlace your fingers and roll your shoulders underneath your back, that's an option. Also, if Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow, is in your practice, feel free to take that as your last back bend. Try to release the gripping in your glutes and instead focus on your thighs and hips. And this will help protect your lower back from any pain. If you took the clasp of your hands, go ahead and release it. On your exhale, we'll all make our way down to our backs. Press your left foot into the ground and bring your right ankle over left thigh. So this is a reclined pigeon. Option to stay here if this is enough of a stretch for you. Maybe even use your right hand to press your right thigh away from you. Otherwise, you can bring your right foot off the ground, your left foot off the ground, clasp your hands around your left leg, and draw your legs closer to your body. You should feel a really nice stretch on the outside of your right hip. Feel free to take a static hold here, or my preference is to explore some movement. Feels really nice to drop your legs to the left. Feel how that changes the stretch in your right hip. And then maybe take them over to the right. Feel free to find any sticky points and stay there. Make sure you're breathing really deeply, and especially sending your exhales to the point where you feel tension. Go ahead and release your feet to the ground. Pressing into your right foot this time, we'll bring left ankle on top of right thigh for that reclined pigeon. Either stay here or lift your right foot off the ground for the deeper stretch. Clasp your hands around your right leg and draw your legs closer to your body. Try to relax everything else in your body. Just focus on your hips and thighs here. Once again, a static hold is perfectly fine, or maybe explore some movement, finding the point of tension that you'd like to work out. You can sway over to the right side, then back through center and check out the left. Make sure you're flexing that left foot. And then exhale both feet to the ground. Draw both knees to chest. Give them a big hug in towards your body. Then on the exhale, drop both knees to your right. So we're coming into a twist.
Your arms can be stretched out to the side or maybe in a cactus shape if you have a limited amount of space. Your drishti, point of focus, can come over your left shoulder if that's okay for your neck. If you'd like to add a IT band stretch, your right hand can grab the outer edge of your left foot and extend I don't have enough space to do it here, but extend your left leg long, really flexing through your left foot, pressing your left foot away from you. And the real activation in that stretch comes by drawing your left hip down toward the top of your mat. That should fire up a stretch in your IT band. Otherwise, if that's not for you today, just stay in the bent knee twist. And then inhale back up through center, bringing both knees toward chest. Exhale, drop your knees to the left, twisting the other side. Make sure your right shoulder is planted into the mat. Gaze can come over your right shoulder if that feels okay for your neck. Either stay here or optional IT band stretch. Left hand grabs outer edge of right foot. Press through your right heel. And the kicker is you really have to draw your right hip down. That will fire up the stretch in your IT band. Inhale back through center. Go ahead and grab the outer edges of your feet for happy baby. If this is not available to you, grab outer thighs. That's a perfectly good modification. What's really important is that you want your tailbone to draw down toward the earth. So if you have to compromise that in order to grab your feet, it's best to try grabbing your thighs instead. Ankles stack on top of knees. Once again, static hold is perfectly fine, or if you'd like to rock side to side, like a happy little baby, that's available as well. Maybe even straighten into one or both legs. And now gather your knees together. Draw your your third eye center toward your knees. Maybe even your forehead and your knees meet. Scooping your shoulders off the mat and giving yourself a really big hug. Squeezing all the energy to the center of your body. Last little bit of work here. Then on your exhale, sigh it out. Release into Shavasana. Traditionally, your legs and arms are long, but feel free to get comfortable here however you need. Maybe a pillow or a rolled up blanket underneath your knees to alleviate any low back pain. Wherever you are, go ahead and scoot your shoulder blades underneath your body, creating some space behind your heart. Close your eyes here. Release any breath control. Allow your breath to return back to its normal state. In such an uncertain and fear-driven time like this, it can be comforting to remember that you have power still over many things. You have the power to choose your perspective, how much media you consume, how you treat others. You can create safety within yourself and your community. The more love and positive energy you cultivate, the stronger your sense of safety will be. Now is the time to embrace your feminine energy and trust your intuition. We can use physical distancing as a calling to look within. We now have the space to slow down and reflect, to focus on our hearts rather than our minds. to reassess our natural tendency to focus on the future, constantly striving for more. Now is the time to learn to find happiness and gratitude in the present moment. Start to invite deeper breaths into your body. Send that breath down to your fingers and toes, igniting some small movements. Maybe rock your hips side to side. Shake your head from side to side. Eventually make your way onto one side or the other, pausing in the fetal position. And then make your way up to a comfortable seated position, keeping your eyes closed if that's all right for you. On your next inhale, draw your hands overhead, palms meet above you. Then exhale, hands come down to heart center. Slight tuck of your chin for devotion. Thank yourself for showing up today, and thank your body for allowing you to do this work. Namaste. Thank you everyone for practicing with me. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. I hope some people were able to transition over to Facebook. But anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and I'll see you soon.